Hello again, and Father Rocco here, and today we're going to just dive in a little deeper to the spirituality of St. Francis in discovering our poverty and the poverty specifically of courage. That the Lord calls us to act in great ways, and we have to have the courage to do that. And I think a lot of times we discover that that's where a real poverty of ours is. In those moments of being able to bring faith to uh, friends or people who may or may not be religious or Catholic or whatever, there's this fear that we feel about pushing our faith onto others or just not really knowing our faith well enough, or that's what we think, that we don't know our faith well enough to be able to share that with others. The Lord really calls us to that courage, to have courage and not be afraid and really share that faith. Last week's gospel, we heard about the transfiguration, and the three disciples that Jesus took with him got to see him in his glory. And in seeing that, they had no clue what was happening. And so they become fearful. And the first thing Jesus tells them to do is to not be afraid, for they have seen the glory of God. And so I think in those moments of courageousness, God is inviting us to see his glory, to share his glory, to share that message of salvation, of mercy, of kindness and compassion. We also see this in St. Francis's life. St. Francis lived a courageous life of poverty, comes from a very wealthy family, but yet he gave all of that up out of his love for the Lord. And so I really think that if we can tie courageousness into our love for the Lord really gives us grace to live courageously in our life. And so if we're discovering that courage is what we need, and that might be where one of our poverties are, then we just have to really work at facing the Lord, not being afraid, and allowing the Lord to give us the grace to say the things, to do the things he wants us to do. That takes practice, that takes time, and it takes a lot of courage just to even practice it. So maybe this week we pray for that courageousness and to live our life as St. Francis did, not being afraid, but living as Christ wants us, and then being able to share that faith with others so that others can be inspired by what we say and what we do. And through that courage, I think we'll see that God does amazing things. And of course, that's what it's all about, to see his glory, that he wants us to see it, and he wants us to bring others to see it as well. So this week, let's live courageously and love the Lord.